All right. Welcome to Coffee, Tea, You and Me. My name is Coach Powell. I do this show every single week to help entrepreneurs, business leaders, people of all types focus on what they need to do to be more successful and to achieve their dreams, to achieve the things they want to achieve in life. I can't imagine a better thing to do than to talk about the things that are important to each and every one of you. That's your success. The things you need to be brilliant at what you do, gifted and talented, and make sure those gifts and those talents are exposed in the best way possible. That's what we do here at Coffee Tea, You and Me. I've been doing this show now for almost 20 years. And since COVID started, we started doing this online and virtually. And it's super, super important because now we can reach out to the entire world, the entire community, and help entrepreneurs and business leaders adjust their thinking, reframe what they're doing, create different possibilities for themselves. And we can do it without regard to location, which means anybody can tune in as long as they have a telephone or internet connection. They can tune in and take part in our discussions. And I hope you will take part in our discussions. I hope as you are logging on, you remember, put your information in the chat, put your business in the chat, put everything you want us to pay attention to right there in the chat so that we'll know how to come back to it, how to reference it. And so if there's an event you got going on, if there is a promotion you've got going on in your business, there's a question you have about our topic today and what we're talking about and how you might express it better, or you even have a thought, put it all in the chat, engage. Whether you're coming to us from LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, it doesn't matter. The chat's open, the chat's active, the chat's alive. Other people can see your chat who's watching it from the same channel that you're watching it on. They may be able to engage and ask questions from you. And by the way, the show's going to be available to you even after today. And so you can go back and watch all the shows. All you have to do is subscribe. All you have to do is make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter. Whatever we are, follow Coach Powell. You can find all the information, the branding information is scrolling across the screen down at the bottom there for you. And so there's no really excuse for you not to be able to get in contact with us. If I say something that you want to know more about, trust me, I have some documents, I have some ideas or some thoughts I can pull from, and I can get it to you. Just text me, email me, follow up with me somehow, some way, and we will make sure that you get the information that you need to be more successful, whatever that information is. Now, for those of you who've been following the show, you've been following us and you've been learning along with us, what it takes to make your mission work for you. Now, for those of you who know me, you know I created the VisionQuest90 planning process years ago. And in the VisionQuest90 planning process, we talk about 4 phases of things you have to do to make sure that your life, your business is successful. When you create your plans, you got to think about all these 4 things. And the 4 things we talked about were vision, your sense of mission, which is also your sense of purpose, your sense of your goals, the goals that you have to have, which give you a sense of strategy and a sense of opportunity, right? And then there is your sense of what we call habits, right? So the things that you have to do on a regular, consistent basis, your sense for the pace that you have to try to do every day, every week, every month, those tasks or your task orientation, right? How do you accomplish those tasks? So those 4 ideas, those compass 4 ideas, those vision, mission, goals, task orientation, those were what I started the system out with. But I realized as I went on that the system was incomplete because I was considering your ability to do all those things by yourself. And I always knew that that was impossible. That you really can't do it by yourself. You have to have also a sense of connection to people and other ideas and other thoughts outside of yourself. And that's where the whole world of diversity, equity, and inclusion comes in, right? So you really do have to reach out beyond your thoughts and your ideas that might exist solely within yourself or within your community. And you got to look out and beyond those boundaries and find different ways of doing things and other understandings of things so that your perspective can be an open perspective, can be one that is more inclusive and more directive. So we've been going on the track of exploring all of these now 5 key aspects of the VisionQuest planning process, right? Don't get me wrong, people were always there It's just that I didn't bring them up to the highlight that they needed to be brought up to, and now we are. And so the new Vision Quest process is going to include people. It's vision, it's mission, it's your goal orientation, it is your task orientation, and it is your sense of connection with people. These are the 5 areas that you have to have in your plans. So we've already covered vision. Those are the first couple of months, months in the series, and we started that last year in December, right? And we've gone all the way through, dealing with your goals, and now we're rounding out the mission section. Next week we're going to get into your task orientation, and finally we're going to get into the people section. We should be finished all of this by the end of this month, the end of Black History Month. And I can't think of a better month to start really rounding out and talking about the next few ideas, right? And that's going to be your mission and your task orientation. You see, because Black History Month is, first of all, a special month to me personally for a lot of reasons. I went to Kent State University. So some people can't read, can't write, Kent State. I went to Kent State University, and one of the things I learned from the Department of Pan-African Studies there at Kent State University, if it wasn't for that particular Department of Pan-African Studies, there probably wouldn't be a Black History Month, because the movements they made to incorporate the curriculum of study at the university and create a curriculum of study at the university helped them ground the notion of Black history within the whole state of Ohio, which then became a part of a movement that carried on forward to the rest of the country. And we decided to move from Black History Week to Black History Month. And it had a lot to do with the founders of the Department of Pan-African Studies at Kent State University. So I'm very proud of them. But that put forth, in my mind, a mission, right? And that particular mission is to carry that legacy. It's to make sure people understand that not that Black history just started, History Month started with my friends at Kent, but more so that Black history is vitally important. It's enough for us to celebrate, a whole month and dedicate a whole month to it, but it's enough for us to dedicate a whole life to it, actually. And understanding what was lost by our people not being able to, and I mean Black people, not being able to tell, to write, and to create their own stories of their own history. All right, because like I said earlier, mission without openness and without inclusiveness is going to lead you in a direction where, when things go wrong, you won't know why they went wrong, because the assumptions that you made were based on the understandings that only you had from your particular perspective. But when you have all the perspectives that there are at the table, that helps you round out what your sense of mission might be and how you might interact and engage with other people, you're going to find that your purpose is clearer and it resonates more with more people, because you've included and you've had an open mindset. You didn't sit down in the corner by yourself and said, this is my purpose. No. You bounce this ideas off of many people as you possibly can, to make sure that, if there's anything else you need to consider, if there's anything else you need to look at, then you have an opportunity to look at that. You're also finding some other things, and I get that in the show today. But that's what the show's all about today. It's about purpose, really. It's about the sense of purpose that comes along with understanding your mission and how do you use it. And so I've got some ideas that I want to bring up from some of the ancient traditions of our world and our universe from a Western perspective. And then I got some ideas I want to share with you from an all over perspective. We talked last week about how your vision is aligned to your actions and who you are, right? For the last 2 weeks, you've been talking about that. This week, we're going to talk about how your vision connects you to purpose. But you had to go through those primary lessons before we get to this one. This is the magic reason why mission is important, because it connects you directly to purpose. And purpose, for all intents and purposes, means a lot. And we're going to get into that after the break. So good to see my friends and associates who will come through today. And my girl Annette's out there. She put her information on the chat. I'm going to go ahead and show that on the screen real quick. You can find Annette. She is a wonderful, wonderful entrepreneur. She's going to do some big things this year. I can already tell. And her Vision of Gratitude, program is absolutely amazing. If you have a chance to work with her, talk to her, follow up with her, great. Anybody else out there, you have a business, you have anything you want to highlight, anything you want to suggest, anything you want some publicity for, go ahead and put it out there, man. I'm trying to promote you. I'm trying to make sure, everybody knows who you are and where you're coming from. Whether you're watching this on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, doesn't matter to me. Put your information in the chat and I will make sure that, we give you a shout out and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. So today's talk, I'm going to get to it right after we have our little brief branding message, which is going to start right now. I love that little video that was done for me because it works sort of like I work. It's like machine parts coming together to create something magical, but it can't come together until it comes together. And it may be loud, it might be clunky, it might be, kind of awkward, but until we get all the parts assembled, then we have something brilliant, something beautiful, something that actually works. Now, all we have to do now after it works is maintain it. And that's a lot like, some of the things we're putting into your plans for 2023. When you're putting your mission in place for 2023, it's got to align to all the other pieces of your plan, right? A mission without alignment is unclear and it doesn't fit. Now, I know a lot of you all are suggesting, life is a whirlwind and there's so many different things going on. There's so many different people coming at me. There's so many different opportunities I have to pay attention to. How can I stay on mission? How can I stay on track? And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about developing your purpose in such a narrow and specific way that it's almost impossible for you to not be on track. Now, you might not be going at the pace that you need to go, that you'd like to go, right? But you will be going at the pace that you can go if you follow what we're talking about today. And your vision will be on point, your mission will be on point, your goals and direction strategy will be on point, and your task orientation will be on point, and you will have the right people in place to help you, or you'll know what you need to have and the right people in place to move you forward. All of that will be alignment. That's what this whole series is all about, is helping you understand how important it is to create that alignment. When you don't have that alignment, things aren't working right. It's just going to be clunky, and it's going to continue to be clunky, and it's going to take up more energy, and it's going to cause more friction with you and other people that you're working with. So it's very, very important that you seek alignment in all things that you are thinking and you're doing for your life and your business. And if you're a small business, there's really no separating the two. And I know I've tried, trust me, but it's very difficult to even talk to an entrepreneur or small business person without talking about their entire life, because their entire life is integrally involved in what they're doing. If not, they're going to suffer from schizophrenia pretty soon. It's not going to be too easy for them, because their family is never going to understand what they're doing. Their resources, other people are never going to understand what they're doing. And I like what you have to say in that. That's so true. Time management is a big issue for everyone, really understanding, because we all think we have more energy than we have. And we all get disappointed when we've over forecasted what we can do. I totally understand how that can happen. It happens to everybody. It happens to me all the time, because I got big dreams. I got big plans. I got big efforts that I'm trying to propose and put out there in the universe. And it's very difficult because oftentimes, I literally bite off more than I can chew. But in doing so, I think the essential thing to remember is you got to put first things first, which is yourself. If you're not taking care of your health, then you won't take care of your wealth. These things are really, really important, and they come just like that. I just posted in the chat a conference that I'm going to be doing, and I'll be having the executive portion of that conference tonight. So only the VIPs and the speakers will be coming tonight. But the ticket sales are ongoing, and they're up and they're running for all day Saturday. So all day Saturday, I got some of the smartest, most brightest, most intelligent people that I think I've ever assembled are going to be coming out to the Leverage Up conference, and the tickets are still on sale. I still got some because I got sponsors. I was able to open up even more of the discounted ticket, which is only $49. So until they run out, have a way at it. Get as many as you want, get as many as you need, get as many as you can take for other people, yourself, because this is going to be an amazing set of discussions. And when you talk about discussing the things that we're discussing, and let me just get into that really briefly. We're going to be talking about the political climate, the economic climate, the social climate. We're going to be talking about the technological things that are going on, the legal things that are going on, and the ecosystem, and how these things are all working together and forcing us to recognize and make choices that we don't necessarily want to make, but we have to make them because we live in this macro environment, right? We live in these macro societies. We can't do anything about inflation. We can't do anything about the layoffs. We can't do anything about the adoption or non-adoption of the internet. We can't do anything about the laws that are being passed or changed as individuals. We can't do anything about Roe v. Wade. We can't do anything about, how it's being interpreted and now used from a personal level. We can't do anything about it. But we can do a lot about it if we're educated on how these things affect our lives and our business, and we're educated on what to be careful of and what to watch out for, and what to allow ourselves to get swallowed up in terms of how we think, right? So these are very important discussions to have for entrepreneurs and small businesses, and not discussions they tend to have because, quite frankly, we're too busy. We're too busy being busy to stop and focus. And so this is what the Leverage Up Conference gives you an opportunity to do. It gives you an opportunity to stop, focus on what's important, meet some new people that you might not have ever met. And trust me, I don't go out and choose people who have written books and all that kind of stuff. I do have a couple people who are authors and authors of some pretty good books, but that's not the point. That's not why I selected them. I selected them because they're passionate and they're brilliant about what they do. And that's why we're able to get the best of the best, because they care about the same small women and minority owned business development opportunities that I care about. And so we get together and we discuss these things, and we make that discussion a privilege that everybody can get to easily, so that these discussions can be had and people don't make decisions in isolation. So I'm hoping you'll come. I'm hoping you'll invite your friends. I'm hoping you'll tell everybody about the Leverage Up Conference, which is virtual. You don't got to do anything except for click on the link, pay your fee, and you get your tickets. That's all there is. It's that simple. Okay, God bless you. I hope you're moving on. I'm going to move on to the topic today. Today's topic, super, super important topic. What can I tell you about purpose that you don't already know? Well, I will tell you a couple things, and we're going to base this off of some of those ancient wisdom that I think that has ever been written down. And we're going to go right to the book. The book that I'm talking about and referring to is a book that most of us are familiar with, whether we agree with it, whether we identify with it, whether we like it or not. If you grew up in the modern Western society in the United States of America specifically, you were influenced by the framers of our Constitution and the framers of our world, who thought largely they were doing things based on the Bible. They thought they were doing things based on a correct interpretation of what they thought the Bible was saying. So I like to use the Bible as a fundamental basis for whatever we talk about when it comes to mission and purpose, because when we talk about these things, they become foundational in our experience, and they're not necessarily foundational because they're based on someone else's interpretation of what ancient wisdom was written, thousands and thousands of years ago by people that are no longer here. Okay, so the languages that we don't even speak anymore, and so this stuff has been interpreted. So I want you to take it with a level of discernment and understand that I'm not preaching to you when I give you these lessons. I'm only telling you these are the lessons that are the basic foundations of the society we live in today. They're not necessarily all correct. They're not necessarily all right. And these are just my interpretations of the same things, right? So I'm fallible. I'm a human being too. I am wrong often. But I want to share with you because I think they set up a good way for us to discuss things like purpose. So the first lesson I want to share from you from the Bible discusses a matter which I think is truly, truly important. And this matter is this: everyone is needed somewhere. Whoever you are, whatever you do, you are needed by someone else somewhere. The book of Mark in chapter 16, verse 15 says, "And he said to them, go into all the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation." So this was a calling. This was a calling to the believers of the time by God to go out into the world and proclaim the gospel, what they know at that time to be true. So think about it. What are you called to proclaim? What is it that you wish to declare? What is the truth that you know based on your level of mastery, based on your level of expertise? What is it that you know? Because what you know and what you are called to do can be performed, right? It can be performed with or without passion. You don't necessarily need passion to do what you know is right to do. You just need the will to do it, right? Passion helps. Passion helps you do it often and do it more and sustain it. And I'm not saying that passion isn't necessary, because it is. I am saying that it isn't necessary to start your stuff, right? If you know you got to go in a direction and it is your mission to do so, then that should be compelling enough for you to get started. And passion can build over time. So don't get locked into, I'm not sure I feel it. Guess what? Most of us don't feel like embarking on the missions that we know we should. If we felt that way, then we'd all be doing the things that we're supposed to do all the time. We don't. We do the things that we think we have to do. And as little of that as is possible. And I'm telling you, my friend, that's no way to win, right? That's no way to act consistently on purpose. Now, what might start to be just like a little small calling, right? It might be could blow up into a flame that is all purpose, that is all passion, that is all exciting, that is all energetic. And that can happen. But a lot has to happen to make that happen. And the first thing that has to happen, you got to get started. You got to go where you're called to go. You got to go where you think where you believe that you have a reason and be willing to go and proclaim what you know to be true. Tell what you know to be true. Tell what you know. If you know products and services, speak about those products and services and make sure other people who need to know about those products and services know about those products and services. Yes, you're going to bump into people who don't care because they're not ready yet. They're not of the mindset yet, or they're not in the space where they need to be in order to receive the message. Try to make sure that you're giving that message to the people who are ready for it, who need it, because you need to go where you're needed so that you can maximize your efforts and your time and leverage the things that are going on with you. So now, if you don't go where you need it and you refuse the mission, there's a cost to that, right? When you start trying to go to the wrong places to do what you think is the right thing, you got to disconnect, right? Or okay, vice versa. If you go to the right places and you're doing the wrong things, again, you got to disconnect. And you got to find, again, that alignment. You got to find that spot where you're going and doing and saying the things that need to be done and said in the space that need to be done and said. I'll give you an application. I'll give you an idea, right? This is a real factual idea. Everybody knows that an application that you fill out on the internet, it doesn't matter what the application is for whatever the reason is, right? They're gonna expect you, and behind every question that they ever ask you on the application is the implication. right? It's an implication that you can or cannot master the material that they want you to master or deserve the opportunity that is going to be given. So if you're applying for a grant or you're applying for a loan or you're applying to admissions for college, whatever it is you're applying to do, right? What they're trying to decide, the organization that is receiving applications trying to decide who are the best people that align best with our mission. Now, if you know the mission of the organization, you're going to be able to craft your message to align with theirs. But if you don't know what the mission of the organization is, and you think it's all about you, then you're going to make the decision that my mission is the mission that they're after. And so I'm going to craft the organization or craft the thought process. I'm going to answer the questions out of my own head in my own way with my own thoughts and my own ideas. I don't know how you think about that, but what do you think that's going to go? You think it's going to be good? That, you know, you're not answering the questions that they've asked you in the way they've asked you for the reasons that they've asked you? Because, my friend, that's what purpose is all about. Purpose is all about getting to the reason that you're doing the things that you're doing and making sure people understand those reasons, not just what you do, but why you do it. You see, just like they said here in the Bible, go out into the world and proclaim the gospel to the whole creation. They didn't say leave out people who are not ready. The whole creation. Whatever gifts and talents you've been given them for a reason, and that is to declare those gifts and talents to the whole creation, to everyone, whether they're ready or they're not. Then now what's that gonna mean? That means you're gonna get on some people's nerves. They're not gonna be ready. But that ain't your business. You know, your business is to take care of your business and to do the things that you need to do, say the things you need to say, declare your gifts and strengths. And what's gonna happen, other people are gonna see that and go, oh, I need that. I need those talents. I need those strengths. I need that product, that service. Now, you can't find them, or vice. You're also going to find people who want to help you. But again, you can't find them if you don't tell them who you are, what you're all about. If you're not good at that, if you haven't put together the plan, haven't put together the statement, haven't learned the language that communicates most effectively who you are, what you're all about, what your purpose is. Because then you know that you have a mission. Then you know, people will know that you have a mission. They will know what it means to you. Again, if what you're saying is believable to them, because they might not be ready to, again, receive it, but that doesn't mean you don't deliver it. Now, that's what the Bible says about that. What does the Bible say about purpose? The Bible also says that your purpose must be declared. You can't keep it to yourself. Now, if you don't know what your purpose is and you're just shooting in the dark, you probably should keep that to yourself. Until you figure it out, until you've gotten all the answers, you probably should not open up your mouth and declare a purpose that you really don't have. Because people are going to think you're about that thing and you're not really about that thing. When they find out that you're not who you say you are, you're not about what you say you're about, then they're going to call you a hypocrite. You're going to feel like a hypocrite the minute you start pretending like you've got it, that's the right direction to go. But when you come to the reality that that's not the right, you got to get out of that. And you got to be clear and open and honest to everybody you dragged in it with you. This was a mistake. I really now know that I'm supposed to be going in this direction, not that direction. It's okay to make a mistake. You have to eat a little humble pie, and that's okay. Again, because if you're going forward with your best, clearest intention, and you think it's the right thing to do, then you got to go for it. You got to go for it now. You can't sit on it. You got to go for it now. If it's a mistake, you make the mistake, you bounce back, you recover, and you keep going. But you must declare your purpose. The book of Psalms is saying, declare his glory among the nations, his marvelous works among all peoples. Whatever you got, you cannot let your light not shine. You cannot be diminished. You cannot diminish yourself. Don't let other people diminish you either, but don't diminish yourself. The first love you have to have is for yourself, and your gifts, your God-given talents, your God-given abilities. You must have it, and you must not allow others to tell you what it is, because you need to know for yourself. You need to know for yourself about yourself, what yourself is all about. And that takes some soul searching, right? Now, I taught you a couple weeks ago how to start that soul searching process. You got to ask some questions. Who am I? Am I really who I say I am? And am I all that I ought to be? You can take them apart, you can put them all together. But as long as you give yourself the thorough answers to those questions, you can prove it to yourself, then you are mastery of yourself, and people can't turn you on or off or around. You know who you are, you know what you bring to the table, you know what you have to give, and you know what you can share and what you can't. And you know what you're supposed to be doing and what you're not supposed to be doing. It becomes really, really clear. But your calling should compel you to share what you know in the most meaningful way possible. That means you got to communicate. You got to learn the language of the people that you want to talk to. You got to learn the cultures. You got to think about where they might be coming from, what their situation is in the world. You got to really consider who they are. You know, I tell entrepreneurs all the time who don't have a target market. They don't have a target or focused product. They don't have a focus. Then if your purpose is just to sell anything to have something to sell, you can work that way for a little while, but after a while, you're going to get bored with it yourself. And you're going to start not experiencing the results that maybe you experienced at one point in time. It's because you don't have a real purpose for it. The purpose is basically to put money in your pocket, and that's not enough of a purpose. Your purpose has to be bigger than you. It has to be bigger than your life. It has to be bigger than your wants and desires. It has to be something that you feel a calling towards. And once you get there, and you got to let that light shine. You got to do it to the best of your ability all the time, everywhere, right? It's so super important that you do this and you do it well. Because when you let your gifts, your light, your purpose go out into the world, it literally grows and precedes you. People know you're coming. They go, oh, here's that guy Marvin. He's going to be talking to us again about alignment. He's going to be talking to us again about getting our stuff together so that we can focus the way we need to focus, so that we can get done the things that we are put here to do. That's what he's going to be talking about, because that's my purpose. My purpose is to help people align themselves to their own purpose and get to the business of doing what they're here to do. So then doing it at an exceptionally high level. And I think everybody can do that if we sit down and we think about it. So I want to put that in your back pocket. That's just as a functional, foundational understanding of what we think purpose might be, coming from the good book, right? But now I want to tell you some ideas and some thoughts that are coming from some of the greatest writers and thinkers that ever existed in creation. Here's what Buddha says. Buddha says that your purpose in life is to find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. Find your purpose and give your whole heart and soul to it. That is your purpose in this life. Now, why would Buddha say something like that? Why would he write that down and build thoughts and spiritual teachings around that thought process, that your purpose in life is to find your purpose first, and then to commit your whole heart and soul to it? I got people out there right now, I kid you not, who seem to be all about what they're all about. But when you ask them why, every time I talk to you, you're talking about this widget, whatever it is, the widget is. Why? And they got no reason. There is no story. There is no connection. There's nothing they get to tell me that would adequately convey what they want to adequately convey, why they have such energy and passion for what they're doing, what they're selling, what they're talking about, what they're trying to influence others to be about. They don't have it. And so that's really the litmus test of why I think I can either trust the person or not trust the person. And let me back that up again for you. If you put all your effort, all your energy, all your thoughts into this one thing, right, and you don't have a good reason to do so, then you're not going to sustain that thing. It's just not going to be something that you're going to be able to do forever. You're going to burn out, right? You're going to pass out from the effort of it all, and you're going to make it very difficult for others to trust you along the way, because you need to have a reason. But when you can articulate the reason why you're doing the thing that you're doing and why it's so important to you, then not only can people identify with that reason, they can respect you for that reason. You know, I'm not a coach because I want to make a lot of money. If I want to make a lot of money, I would invent something that the world desperately needs. And then I would make sure that I marketed it and created it in a way such that the market that really could pay me the most for it knew exactly what it was and how it could help them. That's how I would make a lot of money. And you can go ahead and look at the top, earnings of some of the most self-made billionaires. And by the way, when I say self-made, I'm going to let you know, I understand no one is self-made, right? But those who have made their billions in their lifetime, starting from scratch to billions, right? In their lifetime, they claim to largely be self-made people. And we know that's an impossibility, but let's just say for sakes, because that's the language we speak, right? That these people are self-made, right? Now, the reasons they are, or they consider themselves self-made, is because they may have the ideas, or may have been able to proliferate the ideas in a way that generated the wealth. But it took people to help them shape the ideas, and it took people to help them develop the ideas, and it took people to help them use those ideas in a purposeful and meaningful way for that to happen. There are 1,000 ideas out there about almost everything. In fact, everything you see, there's probably somebody else had the idea way before the person that you saw the idea happen. But the reality is that person was able to get the connections and get the right kind of information out in the right way to the right people in the right time. Boom, to have a really, really big financial win as a result of it. It doesn't mean that other ideas weren't as relevant and weren't as powerful. It just means they didn't have the right connections at the right time. This is why people are so important, guys. People are so important because there are programs and there are things out there that can help you do whatever you want to do, but you need to know about them. And you can't know about them by burying your head in the sand, only thinking about the thing that you're thinking about right now. You got to be open to new ideas, especially new ideas that are in the way of you accomplishing the things that you need to accomplish in your life and in your business. If you got to be a better time manager and you're not going to time management school, why not? You can click on that and learn about that online for free. But you do have to study. You do have to do the work. You do have to practice. There's no free lunch here when it comes to you developing your personal development. That's why I'm in the personal development business, because I understand sometimes people need the motivation to do things they already know they're supposed to do. And they need somebody to hold them accountable. Ultimately, that's what I do, is I hold you accountable to meet your own dreams so that you get there faster. I give you resources and stuff that you didn't have, or maybe you didn't know to go get, or maybe you didn't understand they were out there, which makes your trajectory towards your ultimate destination come to you even faster. So you're going to fail faster and you're going to win faster as a result of working with somebody like me. Either way, it's a learning opportunity way for you to grow. Because along the growth trajectory, it's going to be some losses, some losses. You're going to take some losses, but you're also going to take some big wins too. And as long as you're winning more than you're losing, guess what? You're moving forward. So back to purpose and the distinction of purpose that Gandhi made here. You have to be able to give it all you got. If you can't give it all you got, it's not your purpose. It's not big enough. It's not unique enough. It's not fabulous enough. It's not well-spoken enough. Whatever it is you need to make sure that you can give it all you got. If something in your way that's keeping you from giving all you got, move that thing out the way. If you can't move it out the way, blow it up, explode it. If you can't ignore it, then have somebody else do it. But you can't focus on the thing that's outside of your focus and win. The laws of nature don't let that happen. You might be able to get away with it in the short term, but in the long term, again, it's going to crash and burn. You're going to fall apart. You're going to burn down. It's not going to work. Right? The next thing I want to mention to you about purpose is how to find and then avoid the haters. Remember when I told you back in the Bible, right? It said, you need to go out there. You need to take your mission to the world. You need to let everybody know about it. You need to do what you can and broadcast it all corners of the earth as much as possibly can. The internet makes this now possible for you. But when you do that, you're also going to find the haters. You're going to find the people that don't want to hear from you, aren't ready for you, but you're also going to find those that do want to hear from you and are ready for you. And your job is to be so in love and so enlightened and so inspired by your vision and your mission that you won't stop. You'll have the resilience that you need. You'll have the fortitude that you need to keep going because you know what you're doing is right. Right? Michael Basie Johnson says this: stay away from lazy parasites who perch on you just to satisfy their needs. So they do not come to alleviate your burdens. Hence, their mission is to distract, detract, and extract and make you live in abject poverty. Let me read that to you one more time. Stay away from lazy parasites who perch on you just to satisfy their needs. They do not come to alleviate your burdens. Hence, their mission is to distract, detract, and extract and make you live in abject poverty. So let's reverse this math. If you find yourself in a situation where you're of lack or of need, the question you should ask yourself is, what people are there in the guise of alleviating your purpose, but really what they're doing is distracting you, detracting you, and extracting from you what they need to satisfy their needs. These people are parasites. Now, you may have done a good job of getting rid of all the parasites in your universe. But as you replace the parasites, right, you got to replace them with people who give you the support and the resources, right? This is your network. Your network, you have to strengthen your network. You always have to be building a stronger and stronger and stronger network, right? But in order to get there, in order to do that, that process means you're going to find the haters, right? Figure out what to do with them, all right? But you're also going to find the lovers. Figure out what to do with them. Now, you find people who love you, people who support you, people who are willing to do for you, but you're asking them for more than they can or will give. Then you're going to burn them out, and you're not going to be able to talk to them very much. But if you ask them for the things, and this is something I teach people all the time, if you ask people for the things that they love to do, they can't help themselves, not only are they going to give you what you need, they're going to give you more, because they'll be so excited about being able to let their light shine in a way that works for you. So people ask me about my advice and opinions and stuff like that all the time. And I give it to them all the time for free. I used to do that right here, Coffee to You and Me, live in person. When we used to meet live and in person. Now it's, I'll answer these questions live in person. You know, people have me questions and stuff like that. I'll make sure that they get the answers they need to get to the best of my ability, because I want my light to shine. I want to send my message out into the universe. I want to make sure people know the things that I'm talking about. And I don't want any barriers to people to be able to have access to the information. So not only are we recording these sessions, so you can go back and watch them, we've recorded over 200 of them since COVID started. I know you're going to hear me over and over and over again say some of the same things, but the reality is that's how you get it into your system so that you don't forget it, so that you use it, and so that you make sure you do the right things. Because people who don't have a sense of purpose for themselves will find each other. And then they'll sit around and try to figure out how they could use and abuse each other. But people who do have a sense of purpose for themselves can't wait to release that purpose into the world. And your job is to find out how their sense of purpose and your sense of purpose marry up. There's a reason why every person that's in your life is in your life. And there's something to learn from every person, right? Learn if they are a supporter, learn if they are a hater. Learn how to handle the haters, learn how to handle the supporters. You got to learn how to handle them both. If you don't learn how to handle supporters correctly, you're going to burn them out. They're going to become haters. You don't learn how to handle the haters correctly, you know, none of them could ever become supporters. And so you got to work both sides of that equation. Some of the haters you need to get rid of, you need to ignore, but some of them you can turn. And you have to have the discernment and the wisdom to know which ones are worth the effort. But everybody needs to hear the message. I hope that's clear, right? Now, another thing about your purpose is it's got to call you to urgency like now. If it doesn't keep you up at night because you didn't done enough, it's not big enough. If it doesn't wake you up in the morning because you got stuff to do, you got to get to it, it's not big enough. It's got to be do it now. It's got to be a sense of urgency to it. Steve Maraboli says, your greatest self has been waiting your whole life. Don't make it wait any longer. So you were born with something innate inside of you that is a gift from the universe that's there for you. Only you can do it. Only you can be about it. Only you can create it, can generate it. It comes from, through, with you. And everybody else. But you got to believe in that purpose. And you got to move in that purpose with a level of faith, with a level of discernment, and a level of connection to it. Or you can be wandering around aimlessly, bumping into other people who are wandering around aimlessly. And you're going to wander together around doing nothing that's on purpose, right? But as soon as you get a purpose, all them wandering around, all them people who want to wander around, they just disappear. Man, they just, when you start talking about your purpose, they're like, wait a minute, this sounds like work. I'm out, right? They're going to be gone because they ain't going to want, they're not going to work that hard to see that through to some end. They're not going to work towards something that they can't see immediate gratification from. But people who are working on purpose, they're not working on immediate gratification. They're working on the long term. They're working out in the future. They're working in the distance. They're doing stuff now because they know what now is going to build later. But if you build, you can build the later on the now, but you can't build the now based on the past. That's already done. And so the more you do now, do it now to build on so that you have the later, then that's something that means you got your priorities in order. You are working on the things that are important to work on, not the stuff that's just stuff to do. Yeah, I know you got bills to pay. They got time. You know, the time you need to do what you need to do is now. It ain't tomorrow, it ain't next week. It's now. Do something about it now. Even if it's just a little thing. It doesn't have to be a lot. I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and love this person, but they had an issue. They manage their time well. They know what to do. They know what they're supposed to do. Know how to do what they're supposed to do, but they weren't getting into bed in a timely fashion, which means they weren't getting the rest they needed to get in order to get up early the next day, do the things they need to do for themselves first, and then handle the rest of the business and all that kind of stuff later on. So I challenged them. I asked them to do this. Go out and tell your entire family that if you're not in bed by this certain hour, that you owe them all $100. Anybody can claim it. One-time payout, one person. First person that catches me not in the bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, they're getting this $100. But then I realized that that person's the last one to go to sleep in their family, usually anyway. There's not going to be any up to give them the $100. So I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. You text me, and I'll get a text message before the time that you said you need to be in bed every night. And if you slip one night, that's $100 you owe me. I'm going to turn around and get $100 back to somebody in your family. But I got to get a text message from you. I'm in the bed before the hour that you're all supposed to go to bed. If I don't get the text message, or if I get the text message late, that's $100. I can already tell it's working because there's accountability. The thing he needed to do now was get in the bed at a decent hour every day. And they knew that would change their lives. And I did too. Now I'm holding them accountable for it. So it's important that you find a way to do the things that you know you're supposed to do right now on a regular, consistent basis and get some accountability going. Because you can tell yourself, you can give yourself all the excuses you want to give yourself. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or I'll do it at some other time. You've been doing that for the last 30 years. Some of us 40 years. When are you going to get to it? And what need to motivate you to get to it so you can do it now? You got to do that. We can't procrastinate anymore. It's too late. That time is over. Okay, guys, I've had a wonderful time. And I think that's enough, about purpose. You got to find your purpose. You got to live for your purpose. You got to give your whole self to your purpose. And anything that causes you not to do those things, you need to figure out ways to move those objects out of your universe, because your business is to be on purpose. And whatever you do, whether that's being a father, a mother, a husband, an entrepreneur, a baker, candlestick maker, whatever you're doing, your idea, you got to do it on purpose. You got to do it all the way. You got to give your whole self to it. You can't leave it. You can't leave it to others. You can't let somebody else shine for you. You have to shine for you. Even if you're an introvert, and I'm an introvert, I know this thing, right? You have to shine for you. You have to step out there on faith. You have to know that what you're doing is the right thing, and it's good enough for you to stand on. Okay, guys, God bless you. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. Next week, we're going to get into your task orientation and why that's so important. And we'll probably spend a couple weeks on that. Then we'll spend a couple weeks on developing and finding the right people. And then you'll have everything you need to execute your plans, to create your plans and then execute your plans for 2023 and beyond. Okay, that's a great session. I got to go. Talk to y'all later.